The galactic concord had enjoyed a fragile peace for hundreds of years, a calm that stretched across countless star systems and alien races. But that peace shattered the moment the Xerax Dominion, a ruthless and cold species known for conquering weaker civilizations without mercy, made its first move against the Terran colonies. The humans were new to this vast cosmic stage. Only recently had they begun to spread their reach beyond Earth, and many believed they were an insignificant threat. It's easy to crush or intimidate into submission. The Xerax commanders, proud and arrogant, saw the Terrans as nothing more than a nuisance, a species too inexperienced to resist the might of the Dominion. Yet, on the diplomatic station Orbitrich, which hovered silently above one of the outer colonies, a moment unfolded that would shake the foundations of the entire galaxy. The atmosphere inside the station was tense. Representatives from many worlds watched as the Xerax general, his face cold and expressionless, delivered a harsh ultimatum to the human ambassador, Helena Cross. His voice was low and steady as he demanded that the Terrans surrender all their outer colonies immediately, warning that refusal would mean complete and utter destruction. A hush fell over the room. The other species present had heard countless threats before, but none so bold, or so sure as this one. All eyes turned to Helena, whose face was calm, unreadable, but her eyes burned with quiet fire. She stood tall, steady, and without hesitation or fear. She spoke back with a simple but powerful declaration that shocked everyone present. Her voice, clear and steady, cut through the silence like a blade. "You want war? Then prepare to be erased." The words hung in the air, charged with meaning far beyond a simple threat. For the first time, the galaxy saw that humans were not willing to bow or flee. They were ready to fight back with everything they had. The Xerax general's cold smile did not fade. If anything, it deepened, full of contempt and overconfidence. As he turned to leave, confident in his Dominion's strength, and certain that the humans would soon regret their defiance. But as the doors slid shut behind the Xerax delegation, a heavy silence remained, broken only by whispered conversations and nervous glances. The other species, who had long looked down on humanity, began to sense that something had changed, something dangerous. The humans had just made a choice that would set the galaxy on fire. Back on Earth, the news of Helena's bold response spread quickly, igniting a mix of fear, pride, and determination among the Terran people. Leaders convened urgent meetings, knowing the Xerax would not easily forget such a public challenge. They understood that this was not just a diplomatic standoff. It was the first step toward a war that could decide the fate of humanity itself. The Galactic Concord, with its many factions and uneasy alliances, found itself holding its breath, watching as the seeds of conflict took root. Some factions quietly prepared their fleets, others debated sending envoys, but all knew that the fragile peace was broken. In the cold corridors of the Dominion's flagship, the Xerax commanders began planning their next moves, certain that their overwhelming power would soon crush the humans beneath it. Yet beneath their confidence lay an undercurrent of unease. They had underestimated the resolve behind the human ambassador's words, a warning not just of resistance, but of a counterattack so fierce it could erase them entirely. The galaxy was poised on the edge of war, and every species waited to see who would emerge victorious in this battle of wills and power. But one thing was clear to everyone present at Orbitrich that day. The humans were no longer the timid newcomers. They were a storm gathering strength, ready to change the course of history forever, back on Earth. As the news of the ultimatum spread like wildfire, the Terran High Command moved quickly and quietly, activating Project Nullfire, a top-secret program designed to prepare humanity for full-scale galactic warfare, something no one had dared imagine just years before. The project had been in development for decades, hidden deep within Earth's military research, combining advanced artificial intelligence, cutting-edge weaponry, and new tactics specifically meant to overcome foes far more experienced in space combat. Helena Cross returned to the capital to coordinate these efforts personally, her calm yet determined presence rallying scientists, strategists, and soldiers alike. Meanwhile, Admiral Jace Rowan, a seasoned and tactical genius, took command of humanity's most powerful warship, the TNS Retribution. The ship was a marvel of engineering, packed with eye-enhanced weapon systems that could predict enemy moves, shield generators that adapted to new threats in real time, and a crew trained to work as one seamless unit. As the Xyrax Dominion unleashed their first attacks on the scattered Terran outer colonies, they expected little resistance, confident that humans, disorganized and outmatched, would fall quickly like the many other species they had crushed. But what they encountered was very different. Human forces fought back with precision and skill, striking at Xyrax ships with well-coordinated maneuvers, using stealth technology to evade detection, and deploying drones that could disable enemy engines in seconds. The battles, though smaller in scale than those between veteran space powers, were fierce and clever. The humans' use of AI made their tactics unpredictable, forcing the Xyrax to adapt on the fly. Slowly but surely, the Terran fleets began to chip away at the Dominion's advances, protecting vital supply lines and buying time to strengthen defenses. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as reports of human resilience spread. Alien species, many of whom had regarded humanity as a primitive newcomer, started to reconsider their assumptions. Some whispered in corridors of starports and council chambers, amazed that humans, with barely a century of space travel experience, could match and even outthink the notorious Xyrax warriors. This unexpected strength sparked fear as well as respect, as many realized that if humans could hold their ground now, what might they be capable of in the future? Back on Earth, the pressure mounted as the High Command worked tirelessly to anticipate the Xyrax's next moves. Scientists pushed Project Nullfire's technology even further, developing new forms of electronic warfare and cyber defense to counter the Dominion's own advanced systems. Helena Cross kept diplomatic channels open with other alien races, seeking allies who feared the growing power of the Xyrax. Meanwhile, Admiral Rowan prepared his crew for the battles ahead, knowing each encounter could tip the balance of the war. In the shadow of this brewing conflict, humanity transformed from an underestimated newcomer into a rising force, proving that courage, intelligence, and unity could challenge even the most feared conquerors. The spark of retaliation had ignited, and with it, the promise that the war to come would be unlike any the galaxy had seen before. The human forces, having gathered their strength and resolve, chose to strike back at the heart of Xyrax power with a bold and daring attack on Yurlansevan, a heavily fortified outpost that many had believed to be untouchable. The outpost was strategically placed on a rocky, barren world, surrounded by harsh storms and jagged mountain ranges, making it a natural fortress, protected by advanced Xyrax defenses and guarded by thousands of battle-hardened soldiers. Admiral Jace Rowan planned the strike with meticulous care, knowing that this mission could shift the entire war's momentum. He commanded a surgical operation that would combine all elements of warfare land forces, prepared to infiltrate the bases. Underground facilities, naval units to block any escape, and orbital strike teams ready to deliver precise bombardment. Stealth drones slipped through the thick planetary clouds, avoiding radar and launching tiny EMP mines designed to cripple the Xyrax's electronic systems silently before the main assault. Within 6 hours, the outpost's defenses collapsed, one by one. Energy shields flickered and failed, communications went dead, and the entire base was rendered useless. Its powerful weapons turned to molten metal and glass under relentless human firepower. When the smoke cleared, Yurlansevan was no longer a symbol of Xyrax invincibility, but a silent, shattered monument to human determination and strategy. This stunning victory sent ripples throughout the galaxy, breaking the myth that the Xyrax were unbeatable. Many species who had once dismissed humanity now whispered stories of their unexpected triumph, their disbelief growing with every report of the Terrans' clever tactics and fierce fighting spirit. But the Xyrax were not ones to accept defeat quietly. Furious at the loss of such an important stronghold, their leaders gathered the largest armada ever assembled. directing it toward the core worlds of Earth itself. The fleet was vast and deadly, a swirling mass of warships bristling with weapons designed to crush any defense. At Erebus Gate, a crucial choke point near Earth, the Terran and Allied fleets prepared for what would become one of the bloodiest battles of the war. The space above the gate was filled with the fiery glow of energy blasts and the screams of engines pushing to their limits. Ships from many races fought side by side under human command, defending the last line before the heart of the Terran system. The battle was brutal and relentless. Ships exploded in bursts of flame, fighters weaved through enemy fire, and commanders made split-second decisions that would cost lives but save worlds. Although the Terrans suffered heavy casualties and lost many ships, their forces held firm. In a dramatic and desperate maneuver, Admiral Rowan led a strike against the massive Xerax flagship, fortress in its own right, cutting through layers of escort ships and defenses. The flagship fell, sending shockwaves through the enemy ranks. The loss of their command ship caused confusion and panic among the Xerax, forcing them to retreat despite their overwhelming numbers. Across the galaxy, as news of the battle's outcome spread, a new voice rose from the shadows of war councils and public halls alike, the voice of respect mixed with caution. The phrase traveled quickly, growing louder with every retelling. The humans aren't just fighting, they're winning. For the first time in this conflict, humanity was not merely defending itself or surviving. It was proving that it could lead, conquer, and change the balance of power. The ashes of the first battle burned brightly as a warning to the Xerax and all who doubted the strength hidden behind the human spirit. The war was far from over, but the tide had begun to turn, and the galaxy watched with bated breath to see how far the humans would go in the fight for their survival and honor. In the quiet corners of the galaxy, far from the bright lights of battle and the roaring fleets, an unexpected message reached the Terran leadership, one that would change the course of the war. The Valari, a secretive and little-known alien race, once cruelly enslaved and oppressed by the Xerax dominion, had chosen to approach humanity in the shadows. Their arrival was cautious, marked by discreet communications and veiled promises. But the importance of their offer could not be overstated. They came bearing critical intelligence about the Xerax's inner workings, the layout of their homeworld defenses, details of their fleet movements, and vulnerabilities long hidden beneath layers of secrecy. In exchange, they asked only for protection, a chance to be free from the chains of their former masters. Helena Cross, now deeply trusted by the Terran command, saw the opportunity for a decisive turn in the conflict. Together with Admiral Jace Rowan, she began to craft what would become the boldest operation in humanity's history, Operation Starfall. This plan aimed to bring the fight directly to the Xerax homeworld, striking at the very heart of their empire and disrupting their ability to wage war. The risks were enormous, but the potential rewards even greater if successful. It could break the Dominion's grip on the galaxy once and for all. As word of the Valaris alliance spread through the galactic underground, it sparked a ripple of hope among other races who had suffered under Xerax rule or remained wary of the growing conflict. Slowly but surely, backdoor alliances began to form. Species that had remained neutral, fearful of choosing sides, started to provide humans with advanced technologies, rare materials, and resources vital for the war effort. These gifts were often delivered in secret, hidden from Xerax spies and political rivals. The alliance was fragile, built on mutual interest and shared fear, but it gave humanity an edge that was previously unimaginable. Across the stars, whispers of Earth's rise grew louder, and the One's dismissive glances turned into cautious respect and even admiration. The Terran fleet grew stronger, bolstered not only by new weapons and ships, but also by the growing belief that humanity was destined for greatness. But while humanity and its new allies strengthened their forces, the Xerax Council, once a unified command of ruthless leaders, began to fracture under the mounting pressure. The loss of key outposts, the unexpected human victories, and the increasing desertions of former subjects shook the Dominion's foundation. Within their dark halls, voices raised in anger and fear, accusing one another of weakness and betrayal. The once proud rulers grew desperate, planning a massive and brutal counterstrike meant to crush the human rebellion in a single devastating blow. The tension within the council mirrored the tension across the galaxy. War was reaching a boiling point, and the next moves would decide the fate of countless worlds. The shadows that had once hidden the Velary's secrets and humanity's quiet rise were now fading, replaced by the harsh light of an inevitable showdown. The galaxy watched, waiting for the storm that was about to break, knowing that when it did, no one would be untouched by the fire of war. Operation Starfall began with a power and precision that sent the Terran fleet, led by their most advanced and formidable ship, the TNS Eclipse, surged into the Xyrax home system like a tidal wave. The Eclipse was unlike any vessel the galaxy had ever seen, outfitted with a secret weapon that had been kept hidden until this moment, a prototype stellar disruptor, capable of destabilizing entire planetary shields. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath as the fleet moved into position, surrounding the once mighty Xyrax capital world, turning its orbit into a fierce battleground of blazing energy beams, missile barrages, and defensive countermeasures. While the Eclipse focused on breaking the massive planetary shield generator, a select group of elite human marines prepared to land on the hostile surface, their mission to sabotage critical ground installations and create chaos within the heart of the Dominion. As the battle raged, the human marines faced brutal resistance but pressed forward with determination and skill, their training and advanced technology giving them an edge even on enemy soil. Above the turmoil, Helena Cross made a final broadcast aimed directly at the Xyrax Council and all their forces. Her voice was steady and calm, carrying a weight of truth and resolution. "This is not revenge. This is justice. You came to erase us," we answered. Her words echoed across every communication channel, a powerful message that signaled the end of the Xyrax's reign of terror. As the stellar disruptor charged and then unleashed its devastating energy, the great shield that had protected the Xyrax capital shattered into fragments of light and smoke. Defenses collapsed rapidly under the relentless assault. The once proud empire, which had ruled through fear and strength for centuries, crumbled in a matter of hours. The galactic landscape shifted as the Dominion's fleets scattered or surrendered, and the control they had held over countless worlds slipped away. In the quiet moments following the storm, the Galactic Concord convened to acknowledge the new reality. For the first time in history, Earth was named a protectorate species, a rare and honorable status granted only to those deemed vital guardians of galactic peace and stability. This recognition was more than a title. It was a declaration that humanity had earned its place among the galaxy's most respected powers. The long underestimated Terrans were now a force to be reckoned with, their resolve and strength clear. To all, peace, fragile but real, returned to the stars. But beneath the calm surface, every civilization knew this peace carried a warning. Should humanity be threatened again, they would unleash their full might without hesitation. The memory of the conflict and the message that had sparked it all remained etched in the minds of all who heard it. The stars would forever remember the human ambassador's words, spoken with quiet fury and unbreakable will. You want war? Then prepare to be erased. This was not just a promise. It was a legacy, a testament to humanity's rise, and a solemn reminder to all who dared challenge them in the future.